Are we all out of Family Guy to watch?
It seems
There's-
today
First of
there'll
all,
be
there's
some
never such thing as enough Family
violence
Guy.
in movies and sex on TV. But where
But
are
where are
those
those
good
good
old-fashioned
old-fashioned values
values on which we used to
rely?
rely? Lucky there's
Lucky
a
there's a
Family
Family
Guy.
Guy.
Lucky there's a
Lucky
man
there's a
who
man who
positively
positively
can do
can do
all the
all
things
the
to
things
make
to
us
make us
Laugh
laugh
and
and
laugh and
cry.
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 He's
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 a
a
Family
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 Guy.
Guy.
Burnt.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Wealth and fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big bang up. Wherever there's a hang up, you'll find the Spider-Man.
And just overall, him being Robbie, like I kind of want them gone.
What a
Number one,
lovely,
Robbie Hay.
what a lovely way to start off with talking about this tremendous, colourful superhero movie. Well, one of them's a tremendous.
I'm serious, bro. I'm serious.
Right. How are we doing the actual intro?
Walking underground, underground. Have we started?
No, I've been recording it because, okay, and this is another thing you have to get used to. When we record these things, okay, I press record, we ramble for a bit.
We walk underground.
I use that as like a pre-intro thing in the podcast, and then we do the video has an intro, and then we tend to introduce the film. Oh, and you're our special guest. You introduce the film since you picked it.
I mean, I'm new to this, bro. What am I?
What is the movie called?
Spider-Man?
Which movie are we starting with? I should have rephrased that.
I mean, I say we start with
Well, actually, you better introduce them and then pick one. That'd be professional.
Motherfucker, just pick one.
Spider-Man. Just Tom. No, I just said
one?
Tom Raimi.
Tom Raimi. Nice.
Who's Tom Raimi?
Tom Raimi's Spider-Man. We're starting with Tom Raimi's
Tom
Spider-Man.
Raimi's Spider-Man. I'm the guy watching
Yeah,
that.
Tom
I'm
Raimi's
sorry.
Spider-Man. Oh well then we can settle for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man instead if you want. It's not as good, but
I'd love to settle
know.
for that, but the problem is that that's not really settling. That's an improvement over Tom Raimi's fucking Spider-Man. I suppose we should announce that we're doing Spider-Man 1 and The Amazing Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man 2 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then Spider-Man 3, and then a mystery movie. And then
The Dark Crystal.
And it's purely only a mystery movie because we don't know what the fuck we're going to watch yet.
Driven.
Driven was going to be
But
its
that
own
has nothing
thing.
to do with Spider-Man though.
But it's
Yeah.
peak, that's why.
Yeah, which is why it gets its own thing.
Yeah. Driven and the other movie are going to be like the main event of their particular episode. But
like Alex, how would you feel if your goated ass movie got moved down to the B tier movie in a Spider-Man?
Got second place in a
yeah,
Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Spider-Man 3 would be the good movie in that scenario, and Driven. Well, actually, no, would it be? Would Driven be the bad movie compared to Spider-Man?
Well, in either case, you've been on a Spider-Man roll, so it would still be the you know.
It wouldn't make sense.
The lesser of the two, like it doesn't make sense.
So we'll figure that out in the meantime. But for now, we'll start with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, as Owen suggested, which is a movie that I don't think
it sure is.
It is a movie, but it's a movie that I have not seen in a long time, and I'm talking my last.
You saw it the other day.
That's true. But my last memory of watching the original Spider-Man was on DVD, and I remember it was in my sitting room. I had pushed the two couches together to make a bed.
Oh.
Right? I was lying on the couch, and I had just gotten like my first can of spray deodorant. Before that,
First
before
ever.
that, before that, I had just used Roll-On. I'm pretty sure, and I
Before that,
remember
he was in Smelly
me,
Bullets.
age 12 or whatever, was infatuated with this like spray deodorant. And I must have blasted the room with Lynx Africa to a point where if someone lit a match or a lighter, it would have just exploded.
Oh, don't worry. I've done that before.
It was
Not
absolutely,
exploded or anything.
it was
though.
horrific.
I've exploded
I
before. Don't
sprayed
worry about
so
it.
much shit in that fucking room. But besides that, my last association with Spider-Man 1, see, and I was trying to figure out a way I could sneak.
Besides last week.
I was trying to figure out a way I could sneak footage of this in. Was the fucking PS2 game that I went back and played like 2 years ago. Because
Oh.
that game was absolute, like, it was an absolute childhood classic in my head. But I
Is that the
never,
one where they say circus in town?
yeah, circus in town, and then, like, yeah, like they said, like constantly.
Was it good?
No, but that's the thing, right? Is that was like a childhood PS2 game for me. Never beat it. Way too hard. And then I came back and played it as an
Circus
adult.
in town?
I played it as an adult. Too fucking hard. I beat it, but it too fucking hard. There's levels
Even as
like a proper, like, I've played video games before, fucking kind of guy.
Adam in his prime.
Exactly, in my prime. There's a level in that, in like an Oscorp building with like a giant robot that just stinks shit. And the stealth missions just absolute, like, it makes you want to run into a wall head first, like actual just torture. And I'm so glad that I kind of had that experience with it, because in my memory, otherwise that would be like a classic game. Because I remember running around, swinging through the city in the opening, and I think I got as far as maybe the vulture level, and didn't get
The
beyond
vultures
that.
in this?
Yeah, the game has a lot of
Shit.
extra villains. It has the Shocker, like, like a certain
Oh, like in
Like
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
Lotus?
Lotus?
like a certain other movie that should not go named because we may end up reviewing it.
Shocker!
It had the
You
vulture.
can't escape me.
It had the Shocker, it had the Vulture, it had like a load of robot Green Goblin things. It had the Green Goblin, it had the had the Scorpion.
Oh,
Did it have the Blue Goblin?
No.
Did it have
what about the
Yellow
gold
Goblin?
goblin?
No, but you could play as the Green Goblin if I remember correctly. Like it was like a new
Did it
game
have the-
plus thing.
Did it have the Pink Goblin?
You could play as the Green Goblin and you could play as Mary Jane.
Ah, so even back then they had
Yeah,
fucking
but Mary
shitty
Jane
ass
could, like,
Mary Jane.
Mary
missions.
Jane had like Spider-Man powers though. It was kind of like,
What?
yeah, like it was a new game plus thing. And I'm next to positive the cheat code to unlock Mary Jane was Girl Next Door. Just for
This seems like the most chopped Spider-Man game of all
just for
time.
anybody. You could bowl as well. You could, like, there was like a bowling mini game where like you
Oh, never mind.
webbed
This sounds class.
up enemies and then swung into them and like launched them into bowling pins.
Oh, no way.
The tutorial was narrated by Bruce Campbell and it was funny.
Welcome to the tutorial. Yeah, I know, you want to get on with things, beat up the bad guys, do the whole superhero thing, blah, blah, blah. Well, everyone's got to start somewhere.
I remember that, yeah.
What
The
else?
second one had that as well.
It had all the voice actors returned from what I could tell.
Dude. Yeah, that's
All
true.
the
Tobey
actors-
Maguire's completely
actors-
fucking absent-minded the entire game.
Yeah, he kind of talks like this the whole movie, the whole game.
Mary Jane, I need to save her from the goblin.
I think he
Norman,
did the same.
what did you do?
I think he did the same
Genuinely?
in Spider-Man 2 as
James
well. But
Franco,
we'll get to that when
I'm
we
going
get
to
to
throw a grenade at you.
that. We'll get to that when we get to that. But for now, Spider-Man, the movie, the game, it's an absolute like mid-tier game.
The movie.
Yeah, the game, the movie, the game, the movie.
So what's your thoughts on the movie then?
The movie.
Oh.
Wait, having not seen it in a long time, as I said, I know it gets a lot of reputation for being a good movie, but it was significantly better than I expected it to be. 'Cause I remember always thinking that the first film was kind of dodgy, and then the second film was the good one, and the third film was the bad one. My memory has failed me because the first film is a good one. I have yet to watch the second one, and I'm imagining the third one is still the bad one.
I mean, I rewatched all three of them like what, 2 months ago or something like that
And then
before,
again, me, yeah.
and then again now. But like, I also had the same idea of It was in the same order of like 3 being the bad one, 2 being like the really good one, and then 1 was like the good one, but it doesn't, it's not as good.
Mm.
But I also kind of was like, is Spider-Man 1 actually that good? Like, am I just
It's
remembering it wrong
yeah.
as being good? I had the same thought. I thought it was kind of, maybe it's not as good as I think. And then rewatched it and I was like, oh, no, never mind. This is actually like, this is some top tier stuff.
Well, I saw the second one first,
Okay.
and I was like, damn, that shit was goated. And then I was like, the first one's gonna be goated too. And then I watched it, and it was.
Okay, so you had kind of already heightened expectations, because I was going off of
Yeah.
because I was going off of being a child with a Lynx can and then the video game. So maybe that's
Fair
why
enough.
maybe that's why it hit different. But no, just everything about it is just so like I don't know. To me, it's just how superhero movies should always have been made. Like it's nice that
Good.
not even just good, goofy. It's nice that it had all this weird shit in it. Like it was nice that it was colorful, and it was nice that fucking the like the little moments where Spider-Man uses his powers felt like big deals. It felt quite fantastical. Like when he
It's just the
first,
music is cool.
yeah, exactly. And I think between mainly, I suppose the music kind of makes it sound so just dramatic when he's doing little things like climbing a mini brick
Literally just
wall.
climbing up a
Yeah,
wall.
climbing a wall, and it's like, oh shit, because they actually kind of like I don't know. It just feels like a big moment at the time when, like, you see the kind of things come out with his fingers, and he's like, oh, and he puts one hand on the wall, and he puts the other hand, and he
So
says,
yeah, like
yeah,
it's what like when you see like Spider-Man show up in the new Spider-Man movies, like or not even Spider-Man, but just heroes, like people get excited because like, oh, we're bringing back this old character or whatever, and then like, but like with that movie, you can just have him climb on a wall and like stand an
exactly,
ovation immediately because it's
exactly, yeah.
like regular people can't do that.
No, that
Like
exactly. You've hit, and yeah, that's actually a
it,
very good point. Go on.
it's the same thing with when they were like when they released like the first Jurassic World movie, and they were like, people don't think dinosaurs are cool anymore. We need to use, genetic dinosaurs. I'm like, maybe in your world people don't think dinosaurs are cool, but like I'd watch a movie without genetic dinosaurs. I watch one with a regular ass T-Rex running around the park. Like that's still cool as hell.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Spider-Man isn't real. Like him climbing up a wall should be a big deal.
Because dinosaurs don't exist. That's why it was a big deal in Jurassic Park when they showed up and like were scary.
Exactly, which is why I don't get why they thought that when they got to Jurassic World that people would think that dinosaurs aren't cool anymore. Like dinosaurs haven't come back since Jurassic Park 3. Like that's not something that has happened. Like they
Yeah,
haven't gotten
like it's not.
any less cool.
That's what I was gonna say. It's not like there's been like a slew of dinosaur movies that just kind of have washed the taste out of
Yeah,
them. Like that's not
exactly.
happened.
Jurassic World and Jurassic Park are like just that whole like franchise is the only, you know, like dinosaur based movies that have really been coming out that people are like, "Oh yeah, dinosaurs." And it's the same thing for like Spider-Man, like him climbing up a
The only
wall or
spider type movie.
shooting a web or
Spidersaurus.
yeah, like him dodging bullets and climbing up wall, like that should be cool.
But I think
That's awesome.
another thing the movie does really well is that it scales the cool shit he does kind of bit by bit. Where like
Mm.
the first thing he does that he like he climbs a wall or whatever. Well, actually, no, the first thing he does is he accidentally shoots a web, and he's like, what the hell did I do that? And then like he of course throws the fucking tray at your man, and they get in like a fight or whatever, and then he starts climbing the wall, and then he shoots his webs,
It
and
goes
it's kind of
woohoo.
yeah, and it's like bit by bit, and like they let him have a little moment with his like running across the towers, like not the towers, the buildings,
Oh yeah.
um, until they kind of let you off a bit by having him hit the wall and being a bit funny. But like at least you had
And then I
quite a
think
lot of that cool stuff first before he went funny mode.
yeah, and then I think as well, honestly, before he actually becomes, Spider-Man and does the whole costume, they even do like when he's chasing after the criminal, like he's like swinging around, like jumping off like trucks and
Yeah.
swinging under bridges and all, like day 2 or whatever of being Spider-Man. Like he's like out to get this guy, and it's still, before he's even technically, Spider-Man. He doesn't have the costume. He's still in, like the wrestler outfit. Like that's still so cool seeing him do all that.
Mm. Yeah, no, it does have a real sense of excitement throughout. And another thing I quite like is that like in terms of Sam Raimi directing the action in the film, he made it seem quite unique in the sense that it felt quite super powered action because it's very slow
Yeah,
action. It's very slow action, but like whenever somebody gets hit, they get knocked through like three fucking walls, and it's like all
yeah,
wire.
like
It's like all wire stunts, and like it's and
the
go on.
the like parade or like the Oscorp like festival thing, like him and like Spider-Man and the Green Goblin are fighting on the ground, and like they're throwing like the slowest punches of all
Yeah,
time, like the slowest punches. But like Green Goblin like connects when Spider-Man goes through like three balloons and he like lands on his ass and then he starts running away from like the bullets and all.
yeah. There's like a big scale to it. Like it feels like dramatic action. It's not just like slop,
Yeah.
and you can see what's going on. Like it's not just like quick editing either. And
Mm.
I mean, yeah, there's a bit of 2002 CGI in there, but for the most part, the special effects in the movie are kind of blended practical and CGI, and I think it works very well in its favor
They
because
look better than they do in The Amazing Spider-Man at times, and
exactly
that
though,
movie came out like over 10 years ago
because
or
that
10 years
that
after.
came out in like a weird era where like
You don't like the
blending
fire CGI in the car falling thing?
Exactly.
because that came out in an era where like blending practical and computer effects was like kind of it required a lot of effort and like it required a lot of money. And I was thinking that it's amazing how Spider-Man looked so
Amazing.
big budget compared to these movies today, which have like twice and triple the budget of that movie and look like
Oh,
absolute doo
yeah,
doo
yeah.
poo. Because as we were saying a minute ago, modern movies are just kind of rushing to get to those moments to make people jump up and down, whereas
Yeah,
the
yeah.
old ones kind of just had those moments just be in the film and let us get kind of wowed by them.
That's what like because when you were saying like you remembered like both of us remembered the movie being kind of just like maybe it's not as good
Hmm.
as its reputation is. That's what I thought. Like I remember thinking like I'm gonna be watching this movie and I'm gonna be like, okay, when does Willem Dafoe say the scientist thing, and then like
Hmm.
when does Spider-Man do this big famous thing that he does that everyone knows? And I was like, am I even gonna care about the stuff like in between it? But
Hmm.
then I watched it and I was like, oh yeah, like definitely.
Yeah,
It's not
no,
just like
yeah,
I think the new Marvel stuff is honestly just rotted my head to the point where I'm waiting for like Robert
The
Downey
leader.
Jr. to come out of a
the
portal or
leader,
something. The leader.
the leader. Yes, man, I love getting the leader references on this. I can't wait to have to go find footage of the leader to put into this.
That's gonna be great, man. The straight movie's not even out of cinema yet.
But yeah, no, there's just such a this to the act. Like, I mean, obviously we've only talked about kind of the directing so far, which is fine, but like just everything about. I mean, the music, as we said, is so iconic. I mean, people know it now, but like it's such a. It just has a sense of wonder to it. It
It
doesn't.
has instruments and stuff.
But no, but you know what I mean. Like it starts off so quiet and it kind of builds to this big epic kind of heroic theme. Like the like
I would take that song over like 90% of the themes that they've done for the like modern Marvel stuff.
But
Like it's just
that's the thing. I don't
it
even
hits so much
I
harder.
don't even really know most of the
You don't like
modern.
the leader of the theme?
I don't think he has
I
a
don't
theme.
really know what Mr. Blue.
The blue song.
Oh, true, true, true.
I don't really know
The
most of
only theme
the.
I would say that I know like when I hear it play and it's I know whose theme it is from the modern stuff is the Avengers
That's what I
theme,
was
but
gonna say.
that
The
one's like hard.
Avengers is like
That's hard
it.
to avoid.
I don't really know
Like
any
that
singular
one's pretty
heroes
hard to avoid.
theme, and I know we're kind of at that stage now where, as we said, superhero movies are based around who's going to show up and what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think it is more of a. I think that shows you how much more of a kind of a group project it is now, where one superhero can't get as over as the group's heroes because we've gotten to the point where they've connected everything so thoroughly that we need the connections to even watch them at this stage.
I think that even like Spider-Man like I'm not the biggest fan of the new Spider-Man and like I like and obviously if you don't have good superheroes in the new stuff, then your movie's basically gone because they're not
Your
writing good
movie sucks.
characters. Yeah, like they're not writing good characters most of the
.org.
time. So I think it's like it's pretty impressive that like Spider-Man 1 or even just all three of them really is like, you've got great superhero stuff, magical, like fantastical, shooting webs and flying through buildings and all. But even just the characters and all are great.
That's
Like they do Spider-Man well, but they do Peter Parker well
Yeah.
and everyone else.
That's another thing I
James
wanted
Franco.
to. That's another thing I wanted to talk about because I always hear people, in online discourse around these things, you always hear the phrase like, "Oh, fucking
Oh,
Andrew,
Spider-Man's in it.
no, Tobey Maguire was the best Peter Parker, and then Andrew Garfield
Yeah,
was the best
yeah.
Spider-Man, and Tom Holland's the best both." I don't think you can have a scenario like that. I think you have to have one actor who does both well, and then just pick one. I don't like when people are like,
I also don't agree with people saying Tom Holland is the best of both because really he's the worst.
he's the
of
worst
both.
I think he's. Well, I don't know. I don't like Andrew Garfield either,
No.
but we'll get to that.
I don't think he's the worst of both, but I think he's mediocre at both.
Hmm.
Like I don't find him funny as Spider-Man, but
Hmm.
then I also don't love his Peter Parker, but I prefer his Peter Parker over over Andrew Garfield's, to be honest, because Andrew Garfield is just.
They're fucking
But I think
sassy.
Andrew Garfield does just a better Spider-Man than Tom Holland. But then I don't know. I'd say Tobey Maguire is just my favorite of all of them.
I think so too. I think Tobey Maguire stands way above the rest, and I think what it is that even though they try to, Tobey Maguire has a real kind of pathetic quality to him.
Bro,
He
his
does,
fucking,
yeah.
like his lower lip is like constantly quivering in
Yeah.
every scene.
Like he has
Stop the bus! Stop the bus!
He has like exactly because they're not afraid to make him look like just the absolute chumpiest of chumps, and it's not just in the sense that he gets tripped up and he gets whatever. It's in the performance itself. It's a good kind of quiet guy performance, and then you kind of believe, because the whole point of the movie is his arc in the movie is about, it's the famous quote. It's about gaining power and then dealing with that responsibly. And you kind of you can really buy into and believe because of the performance that this guy who was so lame can all of a sudden climb walls and he has super strength. You believe that he kind of wouldn't have his priorities straight away because that to him is alien. Like it's so different. And I think you kind of buy into that stuff early on when he, betrays Uncle Ben and does his stuff. And then you kind of, buy into his changing over time, and I think it works really well, especially when you watch it as like an actual connected series. When you go into the second one and all that, I remember it working quite well. But it's a really solid performance from him, and I don't think he gets enough respect for that because when he has the mask on, you still feel like it's the same person.
Yeah,
and I think
he's funny,
and
like
that's
Spider-Man should be, but he's still.
But he only
kinda-
gains that confidence when when he has the mask on.
Yeah, which is exactly
he
what you
doesn't-
should be doing
exactly.
with a Spider-Man character. It's one-to-one with the way he's supposed to be. He's a great big like hero. He's he's laughing and joking at the people he's fighting, but then when he takes off the mask, he's just kind of like.
But you can still believe because he has little bits like that, and you can kind of still believe he's the same guy. That's what I mean when I say I don't like when people are like, "Oh, he's the best Spider-Man, he's the best Peter Parker." To me, for me to believe you as Spider-Man, you have to be both.
Yeah, it's like you're not like Spider-Man and Peter Parker aren't two different people. They're the same. They're the same guy. Just it's like the way Captain America and Steve Rogers aren't two different people. It's the same person.
Exactly.
They should have consistent.
But there still needs to be that kind of slight hint in kind of how he reacts. Because as I said, I like how he changes and becomes more confident when he puts on the mask.
Yeah, no, like he doesn't need to be awkward or afraid.
Other Spider-Men aren't really that awkward, and then when they put on the mask, they still aren't that awkward. So
yeah, to me, Tom Holland is the exact same as Peter Parker as he is as Spider-Man. Like the exact same person. I don't ever see a difference in how he like acts or anything. Like he's still throwing around the jokes when he's Peter Parker, but then like I don't feel him get any more confident because he's already at that confidence level as Peter Parker. Like it doesn't change at all, which isn't really what he should be. He doesn't gain, like he's supposed to gain confidence when you put on that mask and all, but he's not. I don't know, he's like the same person when you're doing depending on if he's Spider-Man or if he's just
I mean,
walking around with his
'cause you
girlfriend or
can,
whatever.
yeah, because you can kind of see it in the movie. I mean, they have that big thing of him spending ages making the costume. It's something he's kind of proud of. So it kind of makes sense that
Yeah,
he builds up this kind of Spider-Man persona in his head as well. Because I don't think the other
and I
Spider-Man
think
have that same thing of being proud of their costumes. And I'll try to remember to get back to it later on. But I think there's a big thing in Andrew Garfield's movie when he first makes his costume. He doesn't. I don't know. Like they kind of fuck that scene up because he gets in the
yeah,
costume. He goes for like one swing and then he's just back to like doing regular business.
yeah, because isn't like if I'm remembering properly when Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, you get the whole montage of him drawing up the costume
Yeah.
and like thinking of ideas and everything, and then when he puts it on, the first time you see it isn't like a Tobey Maguire standing on top of a building and being like, "Oh, look at me, I'm Spider-Man," then do one swing and then it cuts away. It's him swinging down onto a crime scene or
Yeah.
something and like, hanging the two guys by their legs on the like lamppost, and then like he swings off into the
It's
distance or
heroic.
whatever, and
Once again,
then you see him land and get the
yeah.
full like, "Oh, I'm Spider-Man." Like,
It adds that sense of kind of heroism and adventure to it. It's great.
and Andrew Garfield's is him
He
landing on
just
a
goes on the
roof and
phone.
then and then he goes on the phone and then he swings away and then it cuts to him being like, "Shit, I forgot the eggs.
Again.
No, not the eggs."
And that reminds me of something else I wanted to say actually. Speaking of performances in the film,
Speaking of the egg scene.
Spider-Man is great, and I don't think people give enough respect to Aunt May in that film because the chemistry between Peter Parker and Aunt May is actually quite warm.
Yeah.
And I feel like
the first one.
Yeah, and I'm saying I think it works significantly better than the like almost nothing relationship between Andrew Garfield and his Aunt May. And
I think the problem is
she got
with
angry
that
at him
one,
like 8 times per con. You didn't like that?
no,
they don't have. It's not that they have nothing. It's that they're just angry all the time. Like they.
Extremely. And then
It's like Aunt May is supposed to be who he goes to when he can't. When Spider-Man is struggling, he goes to Aunt May and he gets advice off her, and that helps him with his next big
He
fight
gets
or
nothing
whatever.
but
But like,
slander.
yeah, he goes back to Aunt May and she's like, "Where's my fucking eggs, man?"
And that happens.
fucking
that
serious.
happens about, as Alex said, like 7 or 8 times. And then at the end
It
of the film,
does.
she had the balls, she had the gall to say, "You're a good person. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise." Bitch, you told them otherwise.
Yeah, you are the one.
You told him otherwise. You were slandering him this whole film. You were like, you literally did worse to his mental health than the fucking Lizard did. But we'll get to the Lizard later on.
Fucking Captain
Don't even
Stacy telling
mention
you
Yeah.
fucking
Don't mention the Lizard.
Spider-Man sucks. And that's
Yeah.
another thing is Uncle Ben in the like Spider-Man
The original one
Sam
is,
Raimi one is like
once again, another
that,
great
like,
actor.
top tier.
Yeah.
Like, when he dies, that shit hurts.
Like you,
he's not.
But you believe this couple could raise a good son. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
And,
Michelangelo, don't forget the painting supplies on your way
Yeah.
home. Like, it's
and then
nice.
and then he does, and then they don't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, he doesn't. He just. Your aunt needed those eggs for her
Yeah.
pastry she was gonna make in the morning. Get the fuck out of my house.
Literally, that doesn't happen. No, it's Uncle Ben that says, "Yes, it's okay. I did the painting anyway. Your dinner's in the fridge or whatever." Like, it's so cozy compared to all the other ones.
And that's why it hurts when he's like, "You're not my dad. Stop pretending to be my dad." Because he's like, bro, he's just trying his hardest. Like he's just trying to be a good dad to someone who doesn't have a dad.
Bro drove a distance you were going to walk.
Yeah,
like,
just and like Uncle Ben, like that's why it just hurts more. And then obviously the last thing him saying to him is, "You're not my dad," is like that hurts.
Yeah, and that's what sets
Spider-Man,
off
Amazing Spider-Man. He just walks out on him.
Slams the door.
He does. He gets in fucking. He gets in a
breaks
fight
the door
with him,
and then leaves.
then Uncle Ben starts stalking them.
And there's no. There isn't even a like great power, great responsibility thing, is there? He doesn't even say that or anything.
He says it on the phone. No, he has like a recorded message. I think.
Oh, at the very end of the movie.
I think so.
Yeah, but like that, like, so then, what inspires him to become Spider? Like what inspires
Well,
him? Like
exactly. Well, that's the thing, because in the original, it's so obvious that the death of Uncle Ben inspires him to take responsibility of these powers, and then the rest of the film is about him coming to terms with that. And then, of course, at the end, we get the classic bit where he fully comes to terms with it and realizes that he can't have a regular relationships and regular life.
yeah, but Spider-Man
Well,
one or Amazing Spider-Man, he's motivated by hatred,
yeah,
like of the guy who killed Uncle
pretty
Ben,
much, yeah.
not of the responsibility that he needs to stop stuff like that from happening again. He wants to do
he
that
starts
to
hunting them
someone
down.
else.
Yeah.
That's the complete opposite of what Spider-Man stands for. Like Spider-Man is the most superhero I can probably think of, next to like Captain America or something, like, American Dream. But like,
Well, Spider-Man's very American as well. He's literally like red, white, and blue
oh yeah, and he has that scene
with the
at the
flag.
very end, like the final swing where he does a lap of all New York's greatest and then lands on the flag. And it's the same in like in Spider-Man 3 as well, like, all the like news reporters cheering for him and all when he
Yeah.
shows up for like the big final battle and all after
Well, I mean,
after his fall from grace.
Well, not even that. Look in Spider-Man 1 when he's like fighting the Goblin on the bridge and he needs help because the Goblin's like tricking him. The New
You
Yorkers
mess with
step
one of
in.
us, you mess with all of
Exactly.
us.
It has the whole
True,
film.
yes.
The whole film has this sense of kind of coziness to it, because even the people of New York aren't like just assholes. They're very helpful and like respect Spider-Man.
Did you
Yeah,
not see the
he's
cranes?
Well, we'll get to
oh
that.
true, bro,
We'll
true.
get to that.
Because Spider-Man, like, it's a big deal that he lives in Queens and all. Like, even in like the new movies as well, he has like the local like homeless shelter that he like helps out at and all. And they do that a lot. Like, they do that in the game as well. He has like Aunt May as the homeless shelter, and like, the fact that he lives in New York is still a big deal.
I don't feel like it's
And I don't think
as
Amazing
big a deal.
Spider-Man does that at all.
No, not really.
But Spider-Man 1, even 2 and 3, American flags, and you mess with one of us, you mess with all of
And
us,
then
and
Joey Diaz, yeah.
and
Joey
then,
Diaz shows up.
you bring in the like public opinion thing, because like, even like, yeah, it is a
They
big
go
thing that he's like
around
an
asking
American
people what they
hero.
think, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you have the people that don't like him and the people that do like him, and it feels like he is a big deal that he has shown up in this city, and he
That's a really good
represents
point,
the American
actually, yeah.
people, but not everyone can respect that or like agree with it, which makes sense. Like,
That's a really good point, actually. The movie treats Spider-Man like the people in the movie treat Spider-Man like a big deal. Like the news,
because he should be.
The news is all over him. The people on the streets are all commenting on him. Like the people on this, like J. Jonah Jameson is always trying to take him down. The people are always trying to lift him up. It's like a big kind of like it's nice that he feels so important to this city.
Like, if you were walking around like your like local area and Spider-Man started going around, it'd be everywhere. Like, it's not it should be a big deal in the same way that a regular guy getting the ability to climb walls and shoot webs is a big deal. And I just think that first movie especially does a great job
At capturing
of
that, yeah.
of capturing just what Spider-Man, what he stands for and why that's a big deal to the people, and also the fact that this man can climb walls now. That's not something normal people should be able to do.
And I think
they just make a big deal out of Spider-Man. It works so well.
I think that goes back to why we're kind of lucky this movie ever even got made, because what it actually feels like is that it was kind of made by people who actually really at the heart of the matter understand Spider-Man, and they were given
Spider-Man knows,
and they were given a truckload of money at the same time.
Yeah.
So like, if anything, Spider-Man, as in like the original Spider-Man, is the like greatest fan film of all time, but a feeling of it.
I mean, I've seen a better one, but
I don't think you have. I won't lie.
Yeah, I don't think you have.
I don't know. I just think, and like that's only Spider-Man as well. Like, it does, like the Green Goblin as well.
Exactly.
Like,
we haven't even mentioned the Green Goblin. That's another fantastic part of the film.
Are you in or are you out?
Like an absolutely iconic performance and an iconic villain.
Fuck you, Spider-Man.
And I like how we were talking about making him blend into this world. I like how they did the Green Goblin, where it's kind of like a schizophrenic guy in like a military costume. Like it's
like the military side of it.
It's not really like a monster or anything. It's literally just a guy who's schizo and happens to have access to like military tech. And it's not like
Mm.
Batman where he's just constantly getting that shit. He just stole this and just keeps it in his fucking shed.
Yeah,
Well,
and also and like Willem Dafoe does like
tremendous job.
He's the
for a
goat.
not schizophrenic person, he does a very fucking good job of
Yeah.
acting like it.
You know, tremendous. Because that would be such an easy...
When he gets freaky in the mirror.
Exactly, yeah. The mirror scene comes to mind for me in regards to scenes that could very easily be cringy. Like,
Yeah.
if the wrong actor was given that, and that would just be embarrassing, because it's very hard to act that kind of thing out. But he's so good
I
with
mean, he's
his...
literally pointing at himself and
Yeah.
like pretending to be shocked.
He's so good with his face, and he's so good with the way he delivers the two different voices. And you kind of buy...
It feels like two people.
Yeah, and you kind of buy the kind of progression of his kind of, delve into insanity as it goes on. Because he kind of acts... He starts off...
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
He starts off and he seems like a...
God, Pete, Spider-Man.
He seems okay, but he's not a great father, but he's nice to Peter and all that. And you can tell what he respects and values, and even though they may not be good things, they exist. And
Money.
when he becomes schizo, and then this guy who's so obsessed with kind of being a workaholic gets literally thrown out from a job with a company with his name on it, he goes crazier.
Which is crazy.
To the point where he starts fucking showing up to Aunt May.
No, you can't do this to me.
He starts fucking sharpening knives towards Aunt May and shit.
Sacrificed. That scene is funny.
It's
Yeah,
like,
because he sticks his fucking finger in the shepherd's
Yeah.
pie or whatever, like a freak.
Also, I think I know we're not talking about it, but the fact that even when they brought him back for the other like Tom Holland Spider-Mans, he's still the best part of that movie, like hands down,
Yeah.
easily the best performance of that whole movie.
that's not really hard.
I mean, it's not
Dylan-
hard, but
I mean, Dylan liked it, so
That's true.
real.
I guess it was just a good movie overall. He had a big smile on his face the entire time.
And then also, like Willem Dafoe doing, Norman Osborn so well, also works for what's his name, James Franco.
What's his name?
Like,
his blade.
I couldn't
What do you
remember
mean?
his name.
What's his name?
I don't know.
Bro, he's the goat.
I don't know. I think if we're gonna talk about the performers in this movie who didn't carry their weight, I think he's one. But I think it's safe to say that it's okay for now because he wasn't given much to do necessarily. Like he's still...
Well, I think that's fair enough, but you can see he wasn't given much to do, but you can still see like the beginning of him becoming the new Goblin. Like,
Yeah.
Whenever like Norman Osborn treats Peter as a better son than he is,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like he's
yeah,
always
yeah.
just like in the background
It's
crying.
nice that he has stuff going on, and how that kind of relationship with his father and those issues lead to later on issues and his kind of breakup
Yeah,
with MJ.
you can see kind of
Yeah,
he's gonna go. They're gonna go somewhere with his character.
Yeah. Speaking of MJ, I suppose it's important to mention her before we move on. Not in that sense, but
Big Kirsten Dunst fan.
Real.
but in the sense that, I mean, I have a lot of... I'm going to be keeping my eye on her a lot throughout, because even though I haven't watched these movies...
So Alex, if you know what I mean.
So
even though I haven't
get it.
even though I haven't watched these movies in a long time, I've heard a lot of slander of her on the internet over the years. So
I think it's not. I
I've
am
heard
one
it
of those
I've
people.
heard it from the horse's mouth, man. Fork man over here.
Yeah, I am one of those people. But I will give her the benefit of the doubt in that first Spider-Man movie. After you kind of reasoned it out a bit, I was like, you know what? Yeah, nah, it's not as bad as I thought.
Because I think, because at the end of the first Spider-Man movie, when I was younger, I used to hate that shit. I was like, why did he walk away from MJ? It makes no fucking sense. But watching it now, it does make... But watching it now, it does kind of make sense, because as I said, it's him coming to... That's responsibility.
That's his great power and great responsibility.
He actually does love this lady so much, he does not want to put her in harm's way again, because she actually already was put in harm's way. She was literally fucking kidnapped and thrown off a bridge. Like,
Alex is like, I wouldn't have done that. I would have married her on the spot.
Real salute.
Which is kind of crazy business. And that makes sense as to why he'd move on. And, to him, his life is just Spider-Man and photographs now. And that kind of we'll continue on into the next movie because we see his science career isn't really working out and all that. But
I want pictures of Spider-Man, and I want them by yesterday.
yeah, really.
You serious?
But yeah, Sam Raimi Spider-Man, absolute classic. I know it gets a lot of respect, but I don't think it gets as much respect as it really deserves, to be honest. What ratings are we giving it?
I said 4.5, but that's
Out of
purely
5.
because, like, yeah, 4.5 out of 5, purely because
Out of 10.
Spider-Man 2, I think is just this, like, not the same again because that'd be stupid, but like, the same kind of thing, but just done better than the first one with more, like, the characters that were lacking in the first one are better. And like you said, I suppose you're right. Like, James Franco doesn't really do a whole lot in that movie at all.
Well,
Yeah, he's still a
And
good
then
though.
the
Once the third
action.
one rolls around,
Don't worry about the third one. That's peak.
James Franco is hiding under the table.
I think the I think the action in the first one is like it is good. It's superhero like, but the second one just ramps it up to be better. So I'd say 4.5 out of 5.
I'm saying 4.5, but I'm not nearly as specific as you are about it. To me, there's just a few scenes where like line delivery slightly pissed me off, and normally that would still result in a 5. But there's like a slight bit of kind of dodgy CGI on top of it, which I know they couldn't really help.
True.
So for me, having two things take me out of the movie is like slightly half-star level. So yeah, 4.5, but very close to a 5.
Yeah, agreed.
Very close to a 5. Like if there wasn't such a thing as a 4.5 star, I'd absolutely 5-star it.
Yeah, I think it's just
closer
like
to a 10 than an 8.
Yeah.
I think it's just like when you see what they can do later on, you think, maybe they could have done a bit better.
Well, I don't
with the
remember what
first
they
one,
can
but
do. I just remember there
such
being
a small
a train
margin.
involved. Alex,
Okay,
what's your score?
Alex?
I probably would say the same as you.
9 out of
Probably
10.
like
4.5.
9 out of 10. I think it could have been better if maybe he got bitten by a radioactive beetle instead of a spider.
Okay, so Blue Beetle
Would
had
have made
movie.
it better, maybe. Not quite blue, but like
Okay.
Beetle Man.
Red and blue.
No, just like Beetle Man. I think would have made it better. More James Franco content, maybe. And yeah, 9 out of 10. Could have had more Franco.
Solid.
If he was under the table.
If there's a bit where he disappears behind a truck and hides under a table, then it might have been a 10.
I want to say he might hide under something in the second movie, so look forward to that.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. And so now I suppose we better move on to the other film.
This movie's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, that's it.
Yeah. The other one.
Done.
I think I have more positive things to say about this than most people do.
Personally, I thought it was amazing.
It would have been great if we could just be like, "Oh, Spider-Man podcast." I'll be like the Spider-Man podcast. Spider-Man. But unfortunately, we have to be the Spider-Man and then the shit Spider-Man podcast.
It's not called the shit Spider-Man. It's called the Amazing.
Oh, it's called the Amazing. He's amazing.
He's amazing.
But I mean, calling that shit amazing is like calling me tall.
It is amazing.
That's not how that works.
I think it has its moments.
I don't think it has any fucking moments. I hate that.
I like some of it. Like, I think, well, to get it out of the way, it is just straight up a worse, like beat for beat. Spider-Man gets his powers seen, worse. Spider-Man accidentally uses them, worse. Spider-Man swinging,
Did you see
worse.
the villain?
That is one of the worst parts of the movie.
But the thing is, I'll leave the villain for a bit because I feel like we're going to spend quite a while ranting about that thing.
Yeah.
So Owen, I'll allow you to be positive about it first, and then we'll go into what I have problems with.
Lizard is ruined.
I think, obviously we said earlier, the designing the suit and being proud of it and all, that's worse. That's just straight worse. He doesn't really put much thought in it. I do appreciate, though, that they show him. Obviously, it's a bit hard to do with Tobey Maguire's one because he doesn't use the web shooters, but I appreciate that they show the process of him putting the web shooters together just a little bit because, it shows that he's, like he's smart. He's a nerd for a
Well,
reason.
Yeah, but he's not really that smart because he just goes into Oscorp and steals the fucking bio cable and just uses that.
He's
The
not even a
bio
nerd.
cable.
He's like a
He
cool
steals bio
skateboarder.
cable. Yeah, he's not
like a
that
cool
much of a nerd.
He's a cool skateboarder with Riz. Like he's not.
He's
I
really
think-
skateboarding around the place and steals bio cables. They're not like he says, "Oh, I made some stuff I made." No, you didn't. I saw the bio cable.
No, he made it.
I think it's still he made the bio cable. I think it's still.
I made the cable.
I don't know. I at least appreciate them kind of like he steals his bio cable, but like I still think there is some merit to it, and I think the other scene that I like a lot, choppy CGI fire aside, the kid where he saves the kid.
That scene is so fucking funny. I don't know what you mean. That kid is
Fire.
engulfed in. I don't know how that car even got set on fire, but that kid is
Just the
engulfed in
petrol
flames.
leaked out of it.
I think
like
the
But what set it
like,
on fire?
it hit the light
That's
bulb and the
fucking
light bulb
leak.
sparked.
Fuck up.
I think what that scene kind of, I guess, stands for nearly, like what Spider-Man saving people and all. Obviously, he's going to save people, but the idea of like him, like the lizard's getting away or whatever, and is going to go on to hurt more people, obviously. But obviously, he chooses to save the kid,
Well,
and he hands him the mask and
the
all. And he's like,
movie-
it'll make you stronger, and he just gives the
mean-
kid like hope and all. And I think that's what Spider-Man stands for, and they do that well enough, I think.
I mean, that's the kind of only scene. Remember, we were talking about getting like some kind of a separate personality out of the mask. That's the closest you get to with that film.
Yeah, I think
But
the
it's
Doesn't
not
help that he
great.
takes it
'Cause
off in every scene.
Yeah, that's the thing. But like, that Spider-Man hates his mask.
yeah.
Like, I'm gonna put up a thing on screen of like every time he takes the fucking mask off because it's quite a few times.
Yeah, he does it a lot. He does it when he has it off in the final scene when he's fighting the lizard. He has it off.
Yeah.
When he gets unmasked by, like, he waits until he's unmasked to do his flip kick and beat the shit out of all the police officers,
I
and
don't
then he
yeah, I
doesn't
don't know
put
why.
that mask back on for a while.
He loves
for some
taking that
reason.
mask off.
But I think, like, that scene is the closest they get to great power, great responsibility in that movie, which it's a shame, but I think it's, for the Amazing Spider-Man standards, I think it is decent. I like his kind of. I know you hate it, but I like the suit design. I like it. I think it's nice.
I'm not mad on it.
I thought it was
I
the
like
kind
color.
of not that good.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
not great.
the
looked kinda
sunglasses
weird.
and stuff. I like that, and
Why does
It
he need
looked like really
sunglasses?
rubbery or something. Like it just
yeah,
looks weird.
it does look rubbery, and I think the like the use of his spider powers, I guess. I like when
That
he
is
Oh,
that
he-
is something he does. All right.
You mean
Nah, but
when
like
he starts crawling around the lizard and then does nothing and shows fucking Gwen out a window instead of the lizard?
but what I'm saying is like
I was so
that
waiting
type
for
of
him to kick
thing.
the lizard at that big door behind him.
That would have
and
been
he did not.
gangster. That and when he's
Exactly.
in the sewers, the Luke scene where he's in the sewers and he has like the lines set up and all, like the lizards crawl
Luke
along
scene?
and whatever.
Why is that the Luke scene?
Because that's where he was trying to explain when we found the gif of the lizard giving him back shots. And then
Put that on
I-
screen.
yeah, please do. And I don't know, I like how he uses his like Spider-Man powers and stuff. I think it's like even the swinging is pretty like
Well, actually,
decent.
I think we
like, it's
probably
cool.
should have introduced this better. Because Owen, you picked these two movies because you're like a really big Spider-Man fan,
Mhm.
and I'm not just saying that in the
Hello,
case of
super
like
friends.
yeah, not even just in the case of like oh you watch these movies, you collect the comics, you're like a proper Spider-Man fan,
Mhm.
and you as like a Spider-Man obsessive, is this like to you? Spider-Man himself, he is a kind of good representation of that idea.
I definitely not at the start of the movie with because like the trigger for
the
that
eggs.
should be Uncle Ben's death, but he spends, instead of spending, the time after Uncle Ben's death learning, the ropes of being a good person and saving people, he goes out with the intent to kill a man, like straight up, like he would kill that guy if the star tattoo dude. That guy would be dead if he met him, and I'd like that's completely wrong. And I think his I don't think he stands for the the hero thing nearly as well as they do it in like Tobey Maguire does it. But that's why I'm saying I like the scene with the kid, because I think it's the closest you get to that. Because like he doesn't give up Gwen, and you see the effect that
Well,
has in
no,
the
hang
Amazing
on, hang on,
Spider-Man
hang on.
2.
I wanna go through this movie in somewhat chronological order in a minute. Because what I
Okay.
was going to do originally is that I wanted you to go through your positives, and then I was going to go through like pretty much every issue I had with it. Because I feel like of
Okay.
everybody here, I disliked it the most.
Yeah. So do you want me to talk positively about?
Finish up your positives, and then we'll move on to shitting on it.
So yeah, the kid scene, like I said, closest to the great power thing we get. I think they use the Spider-Man powers fairly uniquely. He's not just throwing punches and stuff, like you said, the like lizard cocoon thing, the whole
Which he does nothing with.
Fucking stupid fucking
and
lizard
then
bastard.
the scene, like I said, where he drops down and he's like got the lines set up while he's waiting to lure out the lizard and all. And I think the web swinging is like I like the web swinging kind of bits. I think they're better in, God forbid I say it, better in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, but they're still good in that movie.
And that's the
And
first time
then
the sentence bettered in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is
yeah,
ever
I
been said.
know. And then I just think his like
Very Spider-esque.
his jokey, like the kind of jokes and the like
I
quips that
thought
he
his
pulls.
banter in that film was shit, but go on.
I think it's I like the idea, like the the scene now, regardless of the fact that he's willing to kill the man, but when he drops down and the guy's in the car and he like sticks him to the wall or whatever, and the guy pulls out the knife and he like pretends to cry about it and all, like I think that's very Spider-Man, like the whole like jokey bits like that, or but then but the Amazing Spider-Man, they have to go and stray too far from Spider-Man and mess it up by him threatening to murder the guy. But I think
You really
those are
did not
my
like that
main
murder part.
positives. I don't. I like that's
I mean,
Spider-Man
you do
has,
realize he murders the guy in the original one too.
but that's not his. I wouldn't fully count that as his fault. Like he scares the guy and then the guy trips and falls out the window. But
Okay, that's a good way of looking at it.
I like to think that if that guy that he webs up to the wall after the car thing, I like to think that if he pulled down that sleeve and seen the star tattoo, he probably would have just killed him himself.
Shot him.
And I don't like that, or at least given him a beating, And I don't think
clean
that's
off Jason style.
into the garbage can. Same city, man. I don't think that is right. Like, because Spider-Man is one of the couple, handful of heroes that has the, the no-kill rule, like Batman and that type of thing. Spider-Man doesn't kill people. So I think even the thought of him wanting to kill, going to kill someone is kind of crazy. And the fact that it comes after Uncle Ben's death is even worse, because by this point he should have learned the consequences of letting criminals get away and, dealing in kind of the bad side of, being a person, just being a bad person, what consequences that can have. So him even thinking about killing a person is kind of crazy to me.
Right, no, I know what you mean. He does have a more kind of aggressive tone to him, and I do think that's a issue with the film in general. Is that it tries hard to be very kind of not edgy in the sense of people walking around being like Spider-Man Lotus like
Yeah. Whoa.
Radiohead.
But Radiohead walking around raining and all that shit. But he does still do a bit of that whole
Boo.
Like,
Robbie
yeah.
style.
And the film's very grey.
If it is very very, very dark.
But
His
now I
big
want to
like
go on.
his big origin, like where he's supposed to go to the wrestling ring, bro, falls through a roof and looks at a dusty poster and is like, yeah, I could be Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Nothing to do with like having a big
Great
funny
power.
fight.
Well,
and
Bruce
all that.
Campbell in the wrestling scene does say the Amazing Spider-Man. So they knew they
True.
were going to
Oh,
make
shit.
this movie from all
That
the way
is
back
true.
then.
That's true. That is
They
true.
saw it coming.
If only he could have prevented it.
But yeah. So I want to go through this movie kind of bit by bit with things I remember that stood out to me. First off,
First of all, the music is really good.
no, it's
Second
not.
of all, the zombies were
But-
really funny. Third of all, I liked Miguel Nunez a lot in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. For that movie, that is
Fourth
true.
of
but we're
all,
not
Tom
reviewing-
Matthews was funny.
We're not reviewing
All the characters
Return
were
of the
quite
Living
funny.
Dead right now. Return of the Living Dead review comes separately. I don't know.
It is a good film, though.
That is a
That
good
is
film.
true.
But okay, so obviously it was a lot more remakey than I remembered it being. First off, but the opening of this film makes no fucking sense whatsoever. So why did we start this off in the middle of like they try to set the scene being like, oh, it's the 90s, and they have like Seinfeld on TV and shit. Like, you couldn't just have young Peter Parker and we could just do the maths. Instead of us having this, spending time with this relationship between Peter Parker and Aunt May and Uncle Ben, we get Peter Parker and his parents, who are like doing some kind of top secret spider research on their chalkboard, as you do.
Yep.
And they get broken into without noticing until fucking their child goes and they'll have a look. Like, like a whole window is smashed and nobody heard a thing. So they fuck off. They die in mysterious circumstances we'll get back to. And then all of a sudden, Spider-Man is in school getting fucking battered, basically, by fucking Flash Thompson in this one. Like, in the original, they were like kind of comedy bullies. And in the new one, that guy doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Because he changes sides like 6 times.
He's just evil.
He's just evil, and then he just isn't.
Yeah.
But and we were talking about all the actors in the original one being great, and the actors in this one, they're not bad, but I don't think they were directed well, because Andrew Garfield's running around literally going like,
I think an absolute standout scene for that is when he asks, does he even ask her on a date? When he's like, we should maybe go, or no, like maybe next time, or like, but
Or
like
maybe
if you
something
want,
else,
but like
if you
yeah, like
like.
something else, if that's what you're in, like
That's
maybe.
kind of real shit.
That's
though.
what
That's kind of real shit.
No, I hate
I-
his
I-
performance in this
I
movie.
used to think that as well, Alex. I used to kind of think like, oh, like he's being awkward around a girl he likes, but like I don't think anybody would get that bad.
He's not, but it didn't come across as awkward
Speak
to
for
me. It just
yourself.
came across. It didn't come across
trying
as
to be
awkward
funny.
to me. It just came across as no. Isn't that's his idea of like his fake idea of awkward? Like, it's not a real. It doesn't have that Tobey Maguire loserness to it. It just kind of comes across as a guy being like, "Oh, I'm so edgy. Oh,
And I don't even think it's a
Cal,
case of
go out with me, Gwen Stacy."
I don't even think it's a case of Andrew Garfield being.
I think it was bad direction, as I said.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a case of him being a
He
bad
definitely changed his
actor.
accent in this one as well. This is
Yeah.
not just the second one. One Spider-Man.
A woman.
We don't know.
We
For
don't know.
sure.
For sure.
But there's a few lines like
For
that in this
sure.
movie. But
There's a
Gwen
couple where his
Stacy.
accent changes.
Gwen Stacy in this film also bored the tears out of me. I don't understand. Like, she doesn't. I'm not invested.
That's probably the
in
only
her
thing they got
character.
right from the fucking comics is that Gwen Stacy is the most boring character of all time.
I mean, Spider-Man shows up and just kind of. He doesn't even like. It would make sense if he like used her to get his job at Oscorp or whatever, but they kind of just look at each other and go like, "Hello," and then he sneaks into
Hello.
like the spider, like a whole ass spider room.
Which,
And
by
he's
the
like,
way,
yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, what the hell was
comment-
going on in the fucking
the
blue
comment
spider?
on only one Spider-Man or
Okay.
woman could be wrong.
Yeah, it could be Spider-Man, but it looks.
That's
the same.
true.
Miles
Oh,
Morales?
Spider-Man podcast.
But
For sure.
So he walks in there, steals the webbing, gets bitten by one of 5,500 spiders.
There's like a
fucking-
million of them in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of spiders. Has the most I don't know. Everything's just so boring in that film. Like he's going around talking to Uncle Ben, Aunt May, and he's like, didn't get
Uncle
the eggs.
Ben.
Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben, I didn't get the damn eggs. Go
And
fuck
he's
yourself.
like, oh, I found a bag in the basement.
I got
better
this
go have a-
harmonica from
I better
in
go
New
have a look
Orleans.
at
That
it.
cat could play.
Oh, that
Like,
cat could
Apologize
Yeah.
to your Aunt May right now. I'm not apologizing. I don't apologize.
I got the Jack Frost voice back. You know what I mean?
Hey,
I'm
hey,
Spider-Man.
boy. That cat
Billy
could
boy.
play.
Don't the copyright struck again, bro. Watch out.
Because Michael Keaton was acting black, and then we copyrights people for mentioning.
Yeah.
That's Badlands jokes.
Not
Without
literally
further
fucking
ado,
Warner Brothers.
Literally.
Don't touch
yeah,
that mouse.
And then he
You're
opens,
watching Bat.
He opens this. I don't know why. Okay, wait. I don't know why Spider-Man's dad left Spider-Man with like this book that contained the secrets to
The spider formula.
the spider
because this
formula that allowed.
this is another thing I could have a big fucking long ass rant about that I hate about this movie.
The breakfast
What?
rant.
The spider formula.
The idea that Spider-Man's dad purposefully made this spider formula so that one day his son will grow up and
Yeah, because he left it
figure it out
in.
and get
'cause,
bitten by
as I said,
the spider.
There's no other reason for him to have left it there other than for Peter to see it. So he did leave it there for his son to become Spider-Man.
They do a weird thing with both of the Amazing Spider-Man movies where they make, the villains aren't the people who come out of Oscorp. Oscorp is the villain. Like in both movies.
But they're not even that bad.
And
like
they do a lot of like shit where they try to build Oscorp up as like this big evil thing. And like that's why his dad, left the company or whatever, and then
But
he
they're
had
not that
valuable
bad.
information,
Like,
so
what did
they
the-
get chased down. And then
like
he leaves the spider formula for Peter.
Yeah.
So that when he grows up, he can take the spider formula and fight back against Oscorp and, whoever else. But the idea of one person being made to become Spider-Man makes zero sense in any way, shape, or form, because the whole point of Spider-Man putting on the mask to fight crime and, stand up for the people who can't is that he could be anybody. That's the entire point of Miles Morales as a character as well, is that, he's the Black Spider-Man. Like, he's supposed to be, it doesn't matter who it is. It can be anyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So the idea of them making Spider-Man be just a guy, like it has to be this person, makes no sense.
But he has a spider formula.
But to me, yeah.
True,
to me,
y
it's
equals MC squared or whatever.
No. How could you forget?
Can I borrow your pen?
It's something equals two circles with lines through them.
Oh yeah, the two circles with lines through them.
Two circles with lines through them. And then he meets. So I don't. Okay, this is where I really don't start to get this right. I'm perfectly fine with what Spider-Man's up to in this film. I don't understand what the villains are up to. So
I don't want to talk about it.
He's not up to anything.
No, because Oscorp. So Oscorp's evil, right? That's what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Yerp.
And we're supposed to buy that funny kind of Indian-ish fella is like really evil.
Dr.
Right?
Connors, I am removing you from your lab.
And exactly, right? Exactly. We're supposed to take him as like super evil, and that's why the lizard wants to get him, right? But the lizard chases him down onto that bridge, nearly kills him, runs away, and then the lizard doesn't even think about him ever again.
But I mean, I understand that he doesn't think about him ever again, and that's stupid. But doesn't he run away because he's turning back into the Doctor?
I mean, I guess so, but
Isn't
like
that-
that's not really an action scene. Do you know what I mean? Like-
Yeah, no, it is stupid, but it's like they tried way too hard to set up for the big hero moment that he should have had hours ago.
Yeah, but like, I don't understand. So then that guy tries to shut down the Spider People program or whatever, right? Because it's stupid and wasting money. Because it is. Because like you're literally going around fucking mixing lizard fucking DNA with rats to see what happens. Like, shut the fuck up.
Cross-piece genetics, bro. Two circles with the lines through them.
Fuck that. I'd shut that.
That's true.
down
That's
too.
true.
I'd shut that down too.
That's a good point you bring up.
But the thing is, by the end of the film, it still doesn't matter because Spider-Man just blows it up and makes it all blue gas. The cross-species genetics thing was pointless and was rightfully shut down by Spider-Man. So the lizard goes from trying to hunt this fella down, and then he becomes obsessed with being the lizard because it gives him a second arm. He didn't have that before.
Wouldn't you?
And then he decides that he's like, you know what I'll do? I'll make a bunch of lizard gas and then start turning people into lizards. Because that's what you need.
It's the most.
Never mind
It's the most
mixing,
like.
It's the
Never
most
mind.
lizard I've ever seen from a movie.
Never mind
Personally.
mixing people. Never mind trying to use my science brain to figure this out and like mix humans and animals. I'm just gonna make a bunch of people lizards and then nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, like I think it's like the most. It's the type of plot I imagine the Minecraft movie's gonna have. Like if you know what I'm saying, like kids animated movie, like the villain wants everyone to be exactly like him type of thing. But like that makes no
Why?
sense in this context at all.
No, why?
Like-
Like, why would he want everyone to be a lizard?
It's another case of obviously, as you said, me being the big Spider-Man fan, where they just looked at what the lizard is supposed to be and was like, okay, but what if he turned everyone into lizards instead of actually being a compelling character? Like, because even in Spider-Man 2, the game, like the new one, the lizard, like he makes a lot more sense,
Uh-huh.
you know, and is a lot more true to who he's supposed to be than, yeah, let's just turn everyone into lizards. Like,
But I don't even really understand why he wanted to do that or how he came across that lizard people type technology.
like,
Because he was
like,
he was living in the gutter.
yeah, like why? Like, yeah, you get your arm back, okay, and you can regrow it, but like, oh, the whole world needs to be able to experience this power or whatever. But then,
There's
like,
nothing wrong with
you're
them.
there's nothing wrong with them. And like, I know he's like, oh, we need to evolve humanity, but
They weren't
Yeah,
lizards. That's what was wrong with them.
But
they didn't need
that's
to evolve.
devolution. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
None of them people needed, like, humanity doesn't need to evolve into lizards. Like that's not
And
something
at
that
no
the
point
world
does
needs.
Spider-Man even tell him this. Like Spider-Man treats it like he's actually up to something evil. It's so
Yeah, like,
strange.
I just
Anyway,
don't think
And his plan
him as a
revolves
villain.
around. Okay, right. His plan revolves around him putting the lizard gas into the roof of the Oscorp building, which will make it go over the whole city. But like, once again, why? Like, why does Oscorp have that? Number one, but number two, and then what?
Yeah, like, you know, everyone becomes a lizard, and then
Just because everyone
anything-
else is a lizard doesn't mean you're all going to be like best friends.
yeah, like if anything, everyone's gonna hate you,
Like it's
and
not like
also
it's not like
you're
they
not
ever had
special
any-
anymore.
Exactly. But it's not like they ever had any kind of scene where he like
You're
was in control of the lizard people. He just kind of makes lizard people and they just kind of exist.
like, what, you want everyone to be as unfortunate as you? But
That would
that's
make
not
sense,
obviously what
but
he
he
wants,
never
because he wants
says
to
that.
evolve people.
Yeah.
He wants to make people as good as him. But then
But he's not much
but then you're not
better,
cool.
Really.
You're just the lizard then. You're just a guy.
Well,
And
that's
like,
his point of evolving humanity. He wants everyone to be on that level, I suppose. But I mean, I still don't really
but
see
why?
Yeah, why?
How does that benefit you? On like,
Because
how does it benefit humanity?
it doesn't really benefit anything. It just kind of had the lizard get up to something.
I think it would have been far more of a compelling story if they just stuck with kind of who the lizard is, where he doesn't want to be a lizard. Like, you know, he tries to grow his arm back, he turns into the lizard, and
Now imagine if like
he doesn't want that.
imagine if they just gave the Indian guy like a lizard cure or something, and had the lizard like hunt him down and like get too vicious with hunting them down and start killing people or something. And that's when Spider-Man has to step in.
Exactly.
Like,
Or
why does it
have
to be?
like have the Indian guy, instead of testing it on the army veteran people he wants to, have him test it
the
on
lizard.
the lizard, on
Test
Dr.
it
Connors
on-
straight
yeah.
away.
Boom.
And then he has a reason for wanting to hunt down the other guy. And if you really want to keep the plot of him turning everyone else into lizards, then just have him think, well, if I have to be a lizard, then everyone else has to be a lizard. And it's still a shitty plot, but it makes more sense than, yeah, let's just turn everyone into lizards. Why not? Like,
Not
give
really
him a
though.
give him a family or something. Have him get a reason for wanting to turn back into the human doctor and benefit the world instead of just everyone has to be a lizard.
But the
Because
lizardification process would not have begun if that was the case.
Yeah, but why the fuck did the lizardification process ever begin?
Why wouldn't it?
Because what difference does it make?
what does humanity gain and what does he gain?
Lizard.
He thinks that humanity deserves to be evolved to his level, but like, for what? Like, there's nothing wrong with well, there is, but
But once
there's nothing wrong
again,
physically
even
with
if he
humanity.
does do that, it's just going to be New York that gets it. Like, that cloud's not going everywhere.
Yeah, and people just
Yeah, but
turn
more
into
lizards
lizards.
equals more people that can make lizard gas.
But can they all make lizard gas?
No, because he's
They
smart.
can
There's a
learn.
reason why he's a scientist.
They can learn.
Like, the random homeless bum that's just turned into a lizard is not going to be making more lizard gas to turn, like, India into lizards.
You can teach them.
But no one's going to
Scientists will teach
listen
the
because
lizard.
no one is going to be happy that they've
they're
been turned
lizards.
into a lizard.
He's the only fella that's like nutso enough. Well, that and the other thing is like they never really had another. Remember they had that scene where like the rats start fucking battering each other because their lizardification process has begun or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if they had said like, oh, the lizard juice is actually making people crazy, and they had like a scene where there's like a lizard riot or something, that would be something, because that would give Spider-Man something to do as well. But like,
Yeah.
they don't. They just the lizard people become lizards, and then they just sit there.
And even then as well, like, if you add that, like, lizard riot scene in, it makes a bit more sense as to why the actual lizard, like the real one, at the end decides, oh shit, this isn't really that good idea. And like he catches Spider-Man because he's like, oh shit, humanity isn't going to accept this. They're just going to fight each other over it. Like, oh, maybe I was wrong. Come on, Spider-Man, come back up. Like, just anything to make it make more
He
sense.
just catches Spider-Man for no reason. I don't know why.
Yes. Oh, thank God this guy can't stick to walls. I've really
Yeah,
helped him
really.
out.
It's a
Like,
stupid fucking movie.
it's just a terrible, like, plot for anything. Like, imagine if the Green Goblin wanted to turn everyone into goblins. Like, how would that benefit him or benefit any of us? Or
That
like,
would be cool though.
How?
yeah, I mean, Sam Raimi would probably make it
Because the
work. But
goblins. I'm a big goblin fan. I think they could
If
just
they were gonna
personally
do
just
that
the
plot,
fact it was
why not?
goblins, I think they could make me enjoy it.
If you're gonna do that plot, I'd make it a Venom movie,
Adrenaline momentum.
because then you can at least
oh,
say that it was like the alien parasite trying to infect as many people as possible, and that kind of makes more sense than the lizardification process.
Do not slander the lizardification
I
process.
will slander the
Spider-Man,
lizardification process.
Spider-Man acts more like he is Venom in that at the start of that movie than he really should.
He's
Like,
a
he's pissed off, bro.
dickhead, yeah, man. He's a
Like,
proper
he's a real
dickhead,
asshole.
and he's going around
Well, he forgot
moping
the
all the
eggs, to be
time.
fair.
He's going around moping all the time. He's trying to kill people. He forgets eggs, and then he's just like, Aunt May's like, "Oh, you're so good, though, Peter. You're amazing." And he's like, "Oh, thanks, Aunt May." And then,
Like, the complete disrespect of the police captain at the end of the movie.
oh, that fella makes no
Was
sense
like,
either.
but like,
Can you explain to
he's
me
like,
why
go on.
he goes from being? So he's obviously he's kind of like a secondary antagonist to the lizard, right?
Mhm.
Where he gets introduced about an hour into the fucking film, and he's all of a sudden just like, "Oh, I hate Spider-Man. I fucking hate Spider-Man." And then
Mhm.
he gets in like an argument with Peter Parker. Like Peter Parker goes over to his girlfriend's house and just starts shit with her dad. And then he's like, "That's it. I want Spider-Man fucking finished." And like he starts. So Spider-Man goes to his office and he's like, "I'm telling you, police chief, you gotta watch out for that lizard guy. He's gonna start lizarding all over the place." And then the police chief is like, "I don't really believe you." And then after he leaves, he's like, "Maybe I do believe you." And then he starts sending guys to Dr. Connors' office or whatever, yeah?
Mhm.
And then at the end of the movie, he hears on the radio that the lizardification process has begun, right?
Yep.
Like, he hears on the radio that police people are turning into lizards. And then when he sees Spider-Man, he still arrests him. Why in the name of God would you not let it slide at that stage and go deal with the fucking lizard? Like, how is Spider-Man part of that?
His switch up should have been a lot sooner.
And as we said, it's one of the great...
But then there needs to be more lizard in it.
As we said, it's one of the great fucking mask-off scenes where Spider-Man gets arrested, fucking Aura Farms poses, and then starts doing sicko shit and he gets his mask taken off.
He was Aura Farman in that scene.
Fucking...
I think it could have just made a bit more sense if he, at that scene was like, all right, go on, Spider-Man. And then
he gets packed up.
Yeah. But like, I think it's cool that he eventually does realize, oh shit, we kind of do need Spider-Man. But why arrest him then? Like,
I don't know. Because he realizes within like seconds. Like, all he has to do is just like look at his face and he goes, oh, you know what? Go ahead.
But it shouldn't take for him to see that it's someone he knows for him to switch
respect
up.
Spider-Man,
It should be, oh shit, look, Spider-Man's trying to stop the lizardification process. And now maybe if Alex was the police chief, I'd understand why he doesn't agree with that. But
But
I do stand for funny lizards.
But the thing is, right? So we have Uncle Ben, and we have, the whole power responsibility thing.
And Spider-Man.
Then this police captain, who believed in you, even though he believed in you way too late, still believed in you and let you do your thing as Spider-Man, says, please act responsibly, Spider-Man, stay away from my daughter, right? And then Spider-Man does the scene from the original where he goes to tell his love interest that he can't see her anymore because he's Spider-Man, that would be irresponsible. And then like 10 seconds later, fucking, Flash showing up and he's all pally with fucking Peter Parker all of a sudden for no fucking reason. Well, actually, there is a fucking reason, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then he starts chatting up Gwen Stacy again.
That's what I would have did.
This Spider-Man is not responsible. He's an absolute fucking moron.
That's what I would have did.
And he doesn't learn
anything.
He doesn't learn any lesson. Even going into the second movie, he has no lesson learned.
Not a thing. But the thing is, speaking of being an irresponsible idiot, he does not give a fuck who knows if someone knows he's Spider-Man or not. Because not only does he always take his mask off, right? When he's in school, he's doing slow-mo dives in midair and fucking smashing basketball hoops out of it.
Oh, that was pretty cool, though. Let's be honest.
No, but not even that, right? Then he's throwing balls so hard that they're bending goalposts, and then he's fighting the lizard. He goes down to the lizard's base, leaves a camera with his full ass name and address on it, right? And then starts fighting the lizard when he's in school, like not in costume and like doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, like everyone's running away from this big lizard, and he runs directly at him, spins a web, and goes like underneath him and all. I'm like, bruh.
He does not give a bollocks if someone knows he's Spider-Man.
Like, you are not Miles Morales from the Spider-Man games. Like, you're supposed to hide your identity. You're not trying to show it off to everyone. Like, it's just zero responsibility whatsoever.
Real, no responsibility.
And all the power, and none of the responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. All the power and none of the responsibility. Both fucking mending goalposts.
The slam dunk was hard, so you gotta admit.
The slam dunk does go hard. Now, if he had a hit, if he like, did it a bit more subtly, might have worked.
No.
Another thing, though.
Or maybe if you hit the J shot.
Remember we were talking
that would have worked.
We were talking about the feeling in the original and how it was so kind of exciting and they treated his powers with kind of respect and, being special. The first swing in this movie happens in the middle of a skateboarding montage, and he's not even using webs. He's using chains in a warehouse. When I talk about this film trying so hard to be cool, that's what I'm talking about. He's like skateboarding around the place, in a montage, swinging off fucking chains. And then when, as we said, when he gets his fucking Spider-Man costume, he puts it on, looks at himself in the window, fucking trying to aura farm again, and then just goes on the phone.
I think it's just kind of, once he gets his Spider-Man powers, it's just the best hits of all the time, all the cool things Tobey Maguire did, but with minus the cool parts.
Mm.
I think that's kind of
The
it. Like
cranes.
it's
We can
again,
mention.
it's
We
just a
can
worse
mention.
version of the original.
We can mention the cranes actually. So you were talking earlier on about the original being quite patriotic and all that kind of stuff, and how it has great respect for New Yorkers and how they treat Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man doesn't really have that, but what it does have is one scene involving the New Yorkers where Spider-Man needs to get to Oscorp really quick, right? And he's like, "Oh, I need to get there so quick, but I've been shot in the leg and I can't do anything. Oh no!" So then he decides to climb a building, and all the workers of New York, because he saved that kid in the car crash earlier on, are like, "Yo, lads, call all the crane guys you know," and they call all the crane. And there's a big shot of like a
It's
crane
such a
driver,
it's
wouldn't it?
such a everything is awesome.
Literally, it's like
Like
Lego movie
Lego
type
movie
shit.
intro scene.
And he not only does he call all the crane drivers he knows, there's a shot of one of them with like a big American flag, like kind of dimly lit in the background because the film's so fucking grey. And they line up all these fucking cranes so you can get to Oscorp or whatever. And the first thing he does is that he jumps off and misses the first one. And like, sure he catches the
Yeah,
crane.
but what happens next?
Yes, another crane shows up and it catches him. But we didn't need that. Like, that should be his like big moment where it's like, even though he's shot, he's still gonna keep swinging. He didn't need to have a
Yeah.
fall off the roof moment. Like, that's not what the scene. That scene is not about the dramatics of him not making it. We know he's gonna make it because he's Spider-Man and he won't give up. That's what we're supposed to be thinking at that scene. Like they misunderstood their own fucking scene.
It's just like it's like I said, it's such a like kids movie, like funny, like I'm gonna make the big jump. What?
Yeah, literally, that's
Like
Minecraft movie type joke.
Already
Coming in hot.
after, yeah, like imagine if he said that. Like I don't know, it's already
That would be
just
good.
I just think it needed an epic moment and it didn't have any.
yeah.
I think he
Considering
needed a big swing, and he didn't get one.
because he didn't get one
Yeah,
when he first became Spider-Man. He just got a skateboard montage on the like it just really sucks the joy out of Spider-Man and what he kind of stands for. Just altogether.
it always sucks the joy out of me.
I think there's really only a handful of scenes that I kind of am fond of, and even still, they're not really. They never reach any of the highs of Spider-Man 1.
It doesn't even reach the
original
midpoints.
Or Lotus, really.
I would much rather watch Amazing
We're gonna
Spider-Man than
end
watch
up reviewing Lotus at this stage. I feel this is a lot of Lotus referencing going on. We are still missing that third film.
What if we did Spider-Man 3 and then Spider-Man Lotus and be like, how to do
That would
sad
be-
Peter Parker,
That
a
would-
good
no,
way
that
or
would-
a bad way?
That's not really. I wouldn't say Spider-Man 3 is a good example of how to do anything.
It literally is, but okay.
It's how to do a funny movie.
Did you not see when he put his hair to the side?
I'm actually very
I
excited.
mean,
to
the
get
bit
to
in the
that.
mirror in the alleyway, bro. That was
I'm very
that's
excited.
when the Peter I knew was gone.
Alright, what's the anyone have anything else to add before we wrap this up?
It's
Here, Owen,
amazing.
play us a song before it ends.
Well, we haven't done our scores and stuff. I'm talking about anything to say about the film.
I just want to. No. All right.
What's our
Owen, you
scores
have time
then?
to prep.
Okay, well, you need scores first. You can't just start singing mid
real.
Spider-Man.
That's what I
review
mean. You have time to prep their song.
Okay.
I thought it was about a 1.5 out of 5. I really did not like that film. It's
3
so
out of 10.
bland. Yeah, 3 out of 10.
I originally said it was like 3 out of 5, but then I was kind of like, the more I think about it, and like it just kind of pisses me off. I think it's like 2 out of 5 at best, or 2.5 out of 5
It's
at
the
best.
kind of film where there's definitely bad shit in it that I've forgotten about. That's how boring it is as well. Like it's so kind of.
I think
meh.
it's just, yeah. I'd say 2.5 out of 5. Like it's just kind of average. Like
Very generic.
it doesn't do
movie.
Spider-Man fun. It has a very generic plot. Like they don't even
Yeah.
try to do anything
Lizard plot.
exciting with the lizard. It's just, I'm the lizard. I'm evil. Everyone's gonna turn into a lizard.
My
Like
name is Lizard.
it's just really generic overall.
Yeah, no, I was not a fan.
I'd say 2.5. Also, it's just it's definitely one of the movies I've seen, but that's about it.
Okay, you can sing your song.
Right, Owen, sing a
Alright.
song.
All right, guys, let's do the Family Guy number again, but like good this time.
We did that though.
We're doing it again. We're rerunning it.
Okay.
All right, who's who?
Who wants to be who?
You can decide.
You're the special guest.
Um,
You're not going to be special next episode. You're just going to be a guest.
Yeah, I'm gonna be reoccurring, bro. All right, Alex, you start with Lois.
All right.
And I said
then
Lotus, and I was like, that again.
No.
Who's doing the Stewie thing?
I can do that one.
Bro has the easiest
And
job in
Adam's
history.
Peter.
No, well then, Adam, we can both do Peter, and I'll do the Stewie then.
No. You do
You do
Stewie,
Stewie,
but
I'll do
Stewie joins
Peter.
in for the rest of it. Well,
Yeah,
like,
you have to,
look,
you
he
have
does
to sing.
that
Yeah, you have
bit.
to sing like the big like.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right. Seems today that all you see is violence in movies, sex on TV.
Oh, where are those good old-fashioned values
On which we used to rely.
Lucky there's
Lucky
a
there's a
Family Guy.
Lucky
Lucky
there's a man who
positivity
can do
all the things to make
All the
us.
things to make us laugh and cry.
He's
a family
Guy.
guy.